Hey, my name's Jace Miller. I'm 28, and I live in a cramped one-bedroom apartment on the outskirts of Chicago. It's nothing special, just a place to crash after long days hustling whatever odd jobs I can find to make ends meet. Mornings might have me unloading trucks at a warehouse, afternoons delivering packages for some app gig, and evenings fixing leaky faucets or patching drywall for neighbors who pay in cash. It's not glamorous, but it's honest work, and it keeps the lights on while I save for that vocational course in auto mechanics. I've always wanted to open my own small garage someday. Nothing big, just a spot where I can fix things on my terms. Nights like tonight, though, I pull extra shifts at the Grandview Hotel downtown. It's one of those upscale spots where the rich come to pretend life's perfect. I suit up in the standard black vest and tie, grab a tray, and blend into the background, pouring wine, clearing plates, flashing a polite smile before fading away. In places like Grandview, guests pay top dollar to ignore the help, and we're trained to make everything seamless, invisible. The manager assigned me to the VIP section for this event because, as he put it, you know how to keep your mouth shut and move fast. I didn't argue. VIP gigs mean better tips, and I could use every penny toward that course fee I've been eyeing. This wasn't just any night. It was the Armitage Corporation's annual gala celebrating some milestone for the company. 500 guests packed the ballroom, live orchestra playing soft jazz, crystal chandeliers casting golden light like stars trapped indoors, tables draped in white linen with centerpieces that probably cost more than my rent. Men in tailored tuxedos networked over cigars, women in shimmering gowns laughed with diamond earrings catching the glow. The air smelled of expensive cologne, fresh flowers, and the faint tang of champagne. I weaved through it all, refilling glasses, dodging elbows, feeling that familiar disconnect, like I was watching a movie where everyone else had a starring role, and I was just the extra. That's when I noticed her. Tucked in a quieter corner near a row of less trafficked tables, a young woman sat alone in a deep blue gown that hugged her frame elegantly. Her posture caught my eye first. Shoulders slightly hunched, chin dipped low, hands clasped tightly in her lap, as if holding herself together. The golden light softened her features, but even from a distance, I could see the thick scar running from her temple down to her jaw on the left side of her face. A jagged reminder of something brutal. It wasn't fresh, but it stood out against her pale skin, drawing stares whether she wanted them or not. From the VIP seating chart I'd glanced at earlier, I knew her name. Isla Armitage, 24, daughter of Graham Armitage, the CEO hosting this whole extravaganza. Graham was at the head table shaking hands and flashing his polished smile to partners and executives. But every few minutes, his eyes drifted to that corner, lingering on his daughter with a mix of concern and helplessness. It wasn't the look of a powerful man reviewing a report. It was a father trying to hold it together while watching his kids suffer in silence. I poured champagne nearby and caught the whispers, words people think go unnoticed if said just low enough. A cluster of young men in sharp suits chuckled, their voices carrying just far enough. Armitage has all that money and his daughter's damn. Even top surgeons couldn't fix that. Who'd ask her to dance? She should have stayed home. Their smirks made my stomach turn. It wasn't the first time I'd heard cruelty wrapped in casual tones, but here, under the fanciest lights, it felt sharper, like velvet hiding a blade. I glanced back at Isla. She heard them. I could tell by the way her knuckles whitened, her lips trembling slightly, eyes blinking fast to hold back tears. She didn't stand up or snap back. Maybe she'd been told to be strong too many times, or maybe standing would just draw more eyes to the scar, turning her into even more of a spectacle. Up at the head table, Graham stiffened, his jaw clenching. He heard too, but he couldn't storm over and make a scene, not without pulling the spotlight harder on her. Power like his, I realized, came with its own cages. The music shifted to a slow ballad, couples drifting to the dance floor, dresses swirling, shoes gliding on the polished wood. The room seemed to pulse with joy, except for that one shadowed corner. In that moment, Isla looked trapped in a crowd, invisible yet exposed, and something in me stirred. An old instinct from my days in the service maybe, where you don't leave someone behind if you can help it. I set my empty tray on a nearby stand, straightened my tie, squared my shoulders like I was about to do the craziest thing in Grandview history. Then I walked toward her. As I approached Isla's table, the hum of conversations around me seemed to stutter, like someone had turned down the volume on the room. I could feel eyes flicking my way, the waiter stepping out of line. What was he doing? But I kept my focus on her, on the way she sat there like a statue carved from tension. She didn't look up at first. I stopped a respectful distance away, hands behind my back, and spoke softly, just loud enough for her ears. "Are you all right this evening?" Isla's head lifted slowly, her eyes wide and wary, like she'd learned to brace for whatever came next. Curiosity, pity, or worse. Up close, the scar was more pronounced, a raised line that pulled slightly at her skin. But it didn't define her. Her eyes did. Deep, hazel, shadowed by exhaustion, holding a depth that made the room's superficial chatter feel even shallower. She didn't respond right away. I didn't push. Instead, I took a breath and bowed slightly, formal as I'd seen the guests do. "May I have this dance?" The words hung there, and I heard a collective inhale from nearby tables. The orchestra played on, but the air thickened. Isla stared at me like I'd suggested something absurd. "You're the waiter," she whispered, her voice hoarse, glancing at my uniform as if reminding herself, or me, of the divide. "Yes," I said evenly, not breaking eye contact. "And if you say no, I'll apologize and go back to my duties. But if you say yes, it would be my honor." Her fingers tightened on the napkin in her lap, knuckles paling further. She swallowed, her gaze darting to the dance floor where couples swayed effortlessly, then back to me. "I don't want to get you in trouble." "You're not," I replied, keeping my voice steady. "You're just sitting alone in a room where you shouldn't have to be." That seemed to hit something in her. Her lips parted slightly and tears welled up, but she blinked them back. She glanced around at the whispers, the stares, then back at me, searching my face for a catch, a joke. Finding none, she hesitated one more beat. Then, slowly, she placed her hand in mine. The ballroom went still, or at least it felt that way. Murmurs rippled out like waves, shock, confusion, maybe a hint of disapproval. I ignored it all, helping her to her feet with care, her gown whispering against the chair. Her hand was cool and trembling in mine, but she didn't pull away. I led her to the edge of the dance floor, away from the center, but not hidden. The music was a gentle waltz now, strings swelling softly. I placed my free hand lightly on her back, keeping a polite gap between us, and began to move. Slow, simple steps, nothing flashy. She was stiff at first, like wood resisting the bend, her eyes fixed on the floor, breaths coming short and uneven. "Look at me," I murmured, barely above the music. "Not them. Just me." She lifted her gaze, and for a moment our eyes locked. In hers, I saw not just fear, but layers of weariness, the kind that comes from carrying a weight too long. The scar pulled taut as she moved, but I didn't flinch or stare. I just held her steady, guiding her through the rhythm. One step, then another. Her posture eased a fraction, shoulders dropping as the music wrapped around us. The crowd stares burned into my back, but out here it felt like